Alright, so back down through here and across this side of the lake. Something that's always fascinating to me up here is you look at all these boulders and something like this huge rock right here. That is ginormous. And you have to stop and think, wow, that came from that mountain. All of these boulders over time have fallen at some point or another. Whether it's time and erosion or earthquake or whatever it is. Many, many years of slow breakdown of that mountain. I'll give you an idea of how big this is. It really makes you think, that came from up there, you know? It's pretty obvious it did. Let's check this out. Pretty big. Huge. That's what she said. You can also see on some of these where water at one time, when this was sediment, wore these grooves into the stone. Looks like there's a decent path along here. We'll just stick to that unless something interesting pops up. These marmots, they like to live under things like this. That's why they're always spotted in these boulders. It's kind of their home. Oh, that's huge. I'm literally at the foot of this mountain, and it's so much more impressive in real life. This is where our marmot was. He was hanging out right here. When I was filming him, I was on the other side, just like right there. This camera just doesn't have that great a zoom. It does amazing video, but he's run off and hidden from us now. Maybe he'll pop up. Trying to see if I can spot any of those critters. They let out a little chirp that almost sounds like a bird. Right now I think he's being shy. He went back home, saw me coming. Oh well. There might be mountain goats up here. I keep hearing rocks move, like heavy rocks. Not falling, but like they're being stepped on and they're wobbly. I don't see any with my naked eye, but I'm keeping my eyes open. There's definitely something larger moving around in the rocks up there. Kind of getting down towards the other end of the lake. On a deadfall through here. Got a couple of backpackers over there, either on their way in or out, I'm not sure which. Just stay out my camp. I forgot to set up the trail camera this morning. I did set it up last night. So if I have anything from last night, I'll put it in right here. If I don't have anything from last night, I'll just keep talking. Those guys are getting closer and closer to my camp. Anyway, see what I mean about noise carrying? See how loud they are? For some reason, they are standing literally feet apart and feel the need to yell at each other. You can hear how loud I'm talking. If I talk any louder than this, someone will be able to hear me. So just be aware how much your voice carries in the mountains if you want peace and quiet. If you want to give others that peace and quiet. I'm not saying you can't talk loud. Just be aware of whatever you talk about can be heard very well, very clearly, from clear across the lake. I can hear everything they're talking about. They're still making their way towards my camp. I'm going to watch them for a bit. Some people, you know, they have a favorite camping spot. For me and Joe, it's over in here somewhere. I would have to find it. But then there's my Naomi camp, my Naomi Lake camp, which is over at Naomi Lake, that I like to go to. So I don't know if these guys are hiking out or hiking in, but they keep moving towards my campsite. If I walk near a campsite where there's a tent or anything, I just avoid it completely. So that doesn't mean everyone else does. I think where I saw that campfire last night was up there. It doesn't look like they were anywhere down here, or I would not have been able to see their campfire, but I could see it up on the hill, which tells me it was probably up in there. I think those people are just hiking out, and they're probably the ones that were right in here. The nice thing about coming up here on a Sunday is you might get some day hikers, but this far in you'll probably get either fishermen or backpackers, and being Sunday, you'll get a lot of people just going home for the, you know, coming work week, like myself eventually. I don't see any good camping spots anywhere through here, which surprises me. Here's one. See, as soon as you say something, I don't know if this is a good camping spot, but it might be. Let's look at it. It's pretty swampy. Look at this. This runs right through it. Stagnant too. And that means mosquitoes. So yeah. Doesn't look like it's been used in a long time either. Fire pit's pretty broken up. Let's peek over here. Maybe there's something over here. Oh no, I see. There's a pond that this is coming from. Oh, look at that. I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Those look like those Easter eggs, those chocolate Easter eggs, those little ones by Hershey's. If you know what kind of droppings those are, comment down below. I don't say that much, but I am curious. They're not a deer, I don't think, but I could be wrong. So here's this little pond here that we found. Yeah, there's bugs. I don't know if you can see them on camera, but they're all over me. I'm trying to kill one on the camera right now. This is just a breeding ground for mosquitoes. You would not want to camp here. As beautiful as this is, definitely not a good place to camp. Have you ever seen mosquito larvae? They look like teeny tiny little tadpoles squirming around in the water. They just ick me out like cockroaches or spiders. Not a fan. For some reason this fire pit's been completely broken up. Well, not completely, but mostly. People have picked up the rocks and chucked them wherever. We're gonna keep going around that way. I think we're gonna do the whole lake. So it opens up right here quite nicely. This is very swampy. Yuck. My foot's already wet. Who cares? Here's a little pond. All the snow that's been melting up there, making its way down through here. So I think it's time to put the other tablets in our water. See what it looks like. I've been shaking the pack every once in a while. You can see that it's fairly brown. That's the iodine. The water itself was clear. Everything in there that was alive should be dead. Now, for the magic, the tablets that make all of that brown and all of that aquarium flavor go away. I'm excited about this, believe it or not. So this says, after you purify the water, after 30 minutes, it's been 40 minutes, so we're good that way. Add 2 tablets per quart or liter of water. Shake container well, wait 3 minutes before drinking. So I was wrong, it's not 10 minutes, it's only 3. These are strictly for purification purposes. So 2 tablets each, that's, let's see, 2 plus 2, 3 minutes, that's impressive. 1, 2. Now we wait. I don't know if you can see in there, the tablets are dissolving. I tried shaking the bottles, but it didn't do much for dissolving the tablets. However, look at the water. It's already so clear in both of these. So it's taking longer than 3 minutes. It's going to be more like 5 or 6 minutes for those to dissolve on their own. Well, I put the bottles in the backpack. Those tablets are dissolving very slowly. 3 minutes is a bit of an exaggeration. I waited about 10 and they were still bubbling up, and I shook the bottle. Still bubbling up. Not really breaking down very fast, but that's okay. I can drink it like that. It's just getting rid of the iodine right now. So I'm just gonna let it do its thing while we hike some more. And then we'll check it again and see how it did. This is an interesting experiment for me, having used, you know, the Sawyer Squeeze and the bee-free filters and even the pump kind. I've used so many different kinds of filters now. I just thought, what about tablets? I know you have to wait. You can't drink it instantly, but it's not that long. It's, you know, half an hour and you're good to go. So no ill effects from the last trip when I used the iodine tablets. And I really need to hydrate before, you know, hiking out of here. I haven't had too much water this morning, so I'll probably drink an entire bottle and keep the other one for cooking. It's not that far of a hike out. It's not like Shingle Creek where I was 5-6 miles in and exposed to the sun and the wind constantly. Here it's been, I mean, I'm pretty exposed right now, but it's a lot more forested here and there's a lot more shade. I can sit and rest and get out of the sun. This deadfall fascinates me. Because you know these trees, they lived a long time. There's one up here that looks interesting. Look at that. Those are the roots. That's weird. Look at this tree. There's the whole view. Mighty giant. It died, and then it looks like eventually erosion took its toll and it just fell over. And it looks like animals are making a home in it down there. Nothing goes to waste in nature. Even something like a dead tree provides shelter for animals. And even people if you have to. So we're at the far end of the lake now. Camp is way up there, a little green area. And this is where the outlet is. There's water flowing down that way, and down in those trees is it's basically a pond. It's pretty big, but it's I don't think it's an actual lake. I think we'll follow this stream down to that pond, and then we'll come back and hike the other side of the lake. It comes out of the lake right there, just makes its way down. So we've seen the inlet and the outlet of Hayden Lake. Yeah, so this is just a pond. The water's coming right down through there. Hayden is up there. This is where it empties out. I'm being quiet because I don't know if there are deer or mooses or anything else around. I've had too many experiences where I've either scared deer off or surprised an unhappy moose. Deer are pretty skittish. Mooses are territorial. Important to know. And people always ask me if I am worried about bears. Yes, this is bear country. I've only seen a bear one time in my entire life coming up here. And all there are up here are black bears, not brown or grizzly, so black bears tend to be more skittish. Usually if you yell at them, they will run off. I would advise against yelling at a mama bear with her cubs. What happened with the bear I saw up here, I was at my grandfather's cabin with my late wife. We had a weekend away up there. I think my oldest boys were just little at the time, and I decided I was going to go fish the Provo River, maybe a mile directly east of the cabin. So I did. I found a nice secluded spot where the water is nice and pooled. It's kind of opens up and you could see fish in there. I was so excited. I set down at the time I carried a full tackle box. Of course we were staying in a cabin, so that wasn't unusual. Now my fishing gear is very minimal. Anyway, I set it down, I opened it up, I set my pole up, I got it in the water, and I just watched. I don't think I was using lures, I was just using bait and letting it float around. I've caught fish that way before in the river. Anyway, I'm standing there, and across the river from me, which is only 25 yards away, like not the river's not 25 yards, the river's probably 20, and then 5 yards beyond that I see small trees wiggling around, and I hear heavy-ish footsteps. Not heavy like a moose would do, but heavy enough that I knew something significant was coming through the trees. I just stood there and watched, expecting to see a cow, because this whole area is free-range cattle area, and they frequently will just wander all through the Uintas, and shepherds will keep track of them here and there. Once in a while you'll see a trailer for the cows, and also sheep. I've seen those up here too. So I expected to see a cow, and out on the bank walks this black bear. It wasn't huge, but it was big enough, and I had no experience with them whatsoever. So I just froze. I just stood there with my fishing pole going, ah, crap. I had a knife with me. That's about it. I'm like, oh crap, oh crap. Well, it didn't notice me right away. It walked up to the river and put its nose in the river and just started drinking. And I was fascinated, but mostly terrified. I thought, this is how it happens. I'm all alone, no one's around. This bear is gonna maul me right here on the riverbank and eat my innards. And my poor wife back at the cabin will wonder what happened to her husband. So that tablet is, they're still dissolving, those tablets. It's a good thing they're not responsible for killing organisms, because they are not dissolving quickly. Anyway, I very quietly reeled in my pole. It wasn't out very far, so it didn't take long. And then I closed my tackle box and as quietly as possible latched it shut, picked it up, and I started backing into the brush behind me. And he looked up and our eyes met. And I was like, I'm dead. I'm like, my whole life is flashing before my eyes. Please God, take care of my family. He stared at me for a second, and then he put his face back in the water and started drinking. He did not give a crap about me. And I backed into the brush. I kept facing it. I didn't want to turn and run or something stupid like that. I at least knew that. And as I got into the brush and hidden from his view, I turned and ran, quietly, careful where I stepped. And he never came after me. He was pretty docile. He actually seemed too comfortable with being around a person, and I found out later that the same bear had invaded a couple of campgrounds and people were feeding it, and so it wasn't being aggressive at all, but it became comfortable around people. And so the Forest Service tracked it down. They trapped it. They had a bear trap with meat in it. It fell for it. They cleared out the campground it was frequenting, and it was caught in the trap. And what they do then is they just tranquilize it and transport it deep into the wilderness area of the Uintas and let it go. It didn't attack anyone, so they didn't put it down. There was no reason to. So I'm always careful when I walk up on a scene like this. Let's try our water. Look how clear it is. It's crystal clear. There's little remnants of the tablets. It's been like almost a half hour and they're still not dissolved. The iodine dissolved faster. There's little pieces of the tablet floating, but it should be fine. So bottoms up. Let's see if this tastes like iodine at all. Wow. When I bought this was spring water from 7-Eleven. That's what it tastes like right now. No weird aftertaste, nothing. Crystal clear. This tastes exactly like when I bought it from the store. Purified water with minerals and electrolytes added for taste. I'll bet you they put something like these tablets in the water after it's been purified to give it that flavor. So thumbs up on the tablet system. I'll be using that through the summer. This is going to be my go-to water purification system. A couple of liter bottles and some tablets. So this is a win, guys. Now that I'm down here, I do remember Joe and I exploring this before on our outing up here. So it does look familiar, especially this area here. Although I remember this being much further down and the pond being less full. don't see any creatures about. Looks like I have it to myself. Now the temptation might be to backpack in here, camp here. That would be cool, but I don't know. It's a lot of stagnant water. I'm just thinking bugs. There were so many bugs last night and this morning. It was insane. The spray I'm using has been working well though. I haven't had any problems. I thought my ankles were bitten, but they were just itchy this morning. I don't know why. Maybe the wool socks. There's no bites, so I'm bite free. As we can see here, deer frequent this area. Some deer tracks. That's what's down here. We're gonna hike back up now. Well, this is awkward, interrupting a video like this with the view of my office rather than a view of the beautiful mountains, beautiful Hayden Lake, the continuation of our exploration of, there's a lot of reflection on these, our exploration of Hayden Lake. Okay, so I don't know what happened. I had all of my files on my laptop. It's not here right now. I had them all on there. I put all of them into into my Filmora program, and it was like an hour and 20 minutes worth of video. I only need 30 minutes per episode, so I took out the extra video to make another episode later with, set them aside, got to this point in editing this video, and then went to add more video, if this is making sense to you, and it was gone. It wasn't on my hard drive anymore, and I don't know why. I've searched my hard drive. I even looked for a backup on my external. It is non-existent. Suffice it to say, I hiked up the other side of Hayden Lake. I filmed a few things, and a very strange thing happened, and this just makes it even stranger to me. So what happened is I got almost all the way back to camp. Roughly, you'll hear my kids playing video games in the other room, just don't mind them. But I almost made it back to camp. I'm standing probably 50 yards from my campsite. I can see it. I'm taking one last video of the lake, and I said, I'm the only person here. There's not another person on this lake. So just literally as soon as I said, I have this whole lake to myself and I'm filming, a woman walks out of the trees where I had just come from and no one had been there. She walks out, here comes this little dog running up to me, and he starts wagging his tail and sniffing me, and he's kind of a hound dog, very playful. I start petting him and she says, it's okay, he's nice. I said, I can tell, and I'm petting him. Of course, I'm a dog lover and a dog owner. So I start this conversation with this woman, and I'm kind of baffled, okay? She's wearing long running pants, an orange button-down shirt with short sleeves, no backpack. She's just walks out of the trees I had just been in, and I had just said, I'm the only one here. Where did this woman come from? So I'm petting her dog, and she said, oh, his name is Willow. So I'm petting the dog, I'm getting to know the dog, and I'm talking to her a little bit. I asked what breed he is, and she said it's an American leopard hound, which I'd never heard of. And she explained that, you know, they're popular in the South, they're hunting dogs and that kind of thing. It's a really sweet dog, and she said he was just a puppy, he's 8 months old, and I said, great, you know, I can tell he's so energetic. I said, I have a big slobbery St. Bernard at home that doesn't have quite this much energy anymore. And she kind of laughed, and we finished talking for a minute, and I walked back over to my camp, as I said, only a few yards away, and on my big rock that I had there at camp, I proceeded to make lunch. And while I was doing that, I looked over, and this woman had walked to the shore of the lake and laid down and just, you know, relaxing in the sun, and her dog is curled up next to her, and she keeps looking over at me once in a while. I didn't film too much with her right there. She was literally just a few yards from me. So I was kind of like, I don't want to film too much. So I'm filming my lunch, and I'm talking about my lunch, all my usual crap that I do. And
And she keeps looking over, and she's fixing her hair, and she keeps looking at me, and I'm like, you know what? This is really weird that this woman just walked out of the woods, out of nowhere, and started a conversation with me. I should go over and talk to her some more. And this isn't about I was looking for a date or anything like that. It's simply a matter of this is a very strange situation, and she was so nice and so easy to talk to. I thought, why not? So I turned my back, and for about 5 minutes, I cleaned up my ramen in my pot, and I put everything kind of together because I was just about to get ready to throw everything in my pack and head back to the car. And I got that done, and I turned around to go talk to her, and she was gone. No woman, no dog, no one out in the entire lake, nothing. She disappeared as quickly as she appeared, and I had it on video. This is where it gets even weirder. That would be the end of the story. I would think, oh, that was weird. That she just, right when I said I'm the only one here she is, and she's talking to me, she's very friendly. So I go to turn to talk to her, and she's gone. It's like, was she a ghost? Was she real? What was that? That was so bizarre. She had no gear with her, not even a water bottle. So I'm just like stumped, and I'm like, well, she's not getting away from me. I need to find out if I hallucinated that, if that was, I don't know what that was. You had to be there to really feel it, but it was pretty bizarre and unsettling. So I stuffed everything into my backpack as fast as I could. I hurried and did my, you tell Steve, get off the couch, get outside, views are spectacular, gotta go. And I hoofed it after her. And I was literally, from the time that I last saw her and the time she was in the trees, maybe 15 minutes behind her, because I turned around after the 5 minutes and she was gone. And I was like, what? And I did a little search, no one. So I'm like, no, this is too weird. So I stuffed everything in there. I throw on my backpack, I head up the trail, and I looked for her all the way back to the car. There were only a few people camping by then, a few day hikers. I could see everyone clearly. I even looked somewhat beyond the trail. There was Naomi Lake and a couple of ponds, looking for anyone who might be camped nearby, because it would make sense that maybe she's camped nearby and all her gear's at camp and she just went for a walk to the lake with her dog. That's what makes sense. That's what my rational mind says happened. But there was no sign of any girl in black pants and an orange shirt. She was brunette, she was petite, maybe in her 30s. No sign of her dog, all the way back to the car. No one. In fact, I ran into people I ran into on the way up. And I sort of leapfrogged with this other family all the way back to the car, because I'd stop and look around and take a break and just try to see if I could spot anyone, even across the lake, across Ruth Lake. No one. So, okay, well, I'll talk about it in this video, but I'll explain a little bit, and then I'll put the video in showing my brief conversation with this woman. And then I'll just ask if anyone knows who this woman is, a dog named Willow. I would really appreciate if you'd let her know that I want to get in contact with her. And the only reason is I want to make sure this thing wasn't imaginary or something. It was so weird. The timing of everything, that she appeared and then disappeared and then I couldn't find her, was very strange. I know the area well, very well, and no sign of her anywhere. So I go to edit the next part of my video here that you're watching, and her video clip is gone. It's not on my hard drive anymore. No, and it had been there just a few days ago when I started editing this. No video of my conversation with this girl, no video of her pup, no video of, me packing up and leaving, nothing. I got nothing. The video literally abruptly, the clips end right where you just saw them end, and I interrupted. So, if you happen to know a woman out there with a dog named Willow that's an American Leopard Hound, that's very specific. I never got her name. I didn't plan on becoming her BFF. I just was going to have a conversation, and it wasn't the conversation that I'm missing out on. It was the circumstances in general, just so bizarre. So if you happen to know who this person is, and you happen to run across this video, I would appreciate you getting in contact with me. If not, I guess it's just chalk it up to one of the weirdest mysteries that I've ever experienced in the outdoors with another human being. All I have left of this video is a bunch of GoPro footage from that trip. I'll throw it on here to round out this series. It was going to be at least 2 more episodes of exploration and camp and that kind of thing, but the clips are gone. They're just gone, and there's no reason. I did not delete them. They were on my computer, and then they weren't on my computer. No idea, guys. Wish I was telling a fib or a tall tale, but I'm not. It was a very strange experience. This would have been Father's Day of this year, 2021, that I ran into her on the lake. So I'll leave it at that. Here's some GoPro footage to round out this series, and we'll get on to the next series. Take care, guys. Get off the couch, get outside, have some fun. The views are spectacular. Maybe not in here, but out there. And if you can't get outside, just come along with me, and I could use the company. You and I will share the experience together. I will see you in the next adventure. Take care.